Have you ever felt like you were in a situation where standing up for what you believe in was incredibly difficult, even dangerous? Well, today we're diving into the story of a man who did just that, not once, but throughout his entire life. His name was Daniel, and his story is one of incredible faith, courage, and a little bit of supernatural intervention. Our story starts in Jerusalem, but it quickly takes a dark turn. The mighty Babylonian Empire, led by King Nebuchadnezzar, conquers the city. The king had a specific strategy. He would take the brightest, strongest, and most promising young men from the conquered lands and bring them back to Babylon. The goal was to assimilate them, to make them Babylonians in every way, thought, language, and loyalty. Among these captives were Daniel and his three friends, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, whom you might know by their Babylonian names, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right from the start, Daniel and his friends faced a test. They were offered the king's finest food and wine, a privilege meant to indebt them to the king and immerse them in Babylonian culture. But there was a problem. This food didn't align with their Jewish dietary laws and was likely offered to idols first. So Daniel, with remarkable bravery for a young man in a foreign land, respectfully requested a different diet, just vegetables and water. The chief official was worried. If they looked weak, it would be his head on the line. But Daniel proposed a 10-day trial. Let us eat our simple food, and you eat the king's. And then compare. After 10 days, Daniel and his friends looked healthier and stronger than all the others. This small act of faithfulness set the stage for everything that was to come. Soon, King Nebuchadnezzar has a deeply disturbing dream. He's so troubled that he summons all his wise men, magicians, and astrologers. But he throws a curveball at them. He doesn't just want them to interpret the dream. He wants them to tell him what the dream was in the first place. An impossible task. When they inevitably fail, the furious king orders all the wise men in Babylon to be executed, and that includes Daniel and his friends. When the guards come for them, Daniel calmly asks for a little time. He and his friends pray, asking God for a miracle, for the revelation of the king's secret. And that night, God reveals the dream and its meaning to Daniel in a vision. The next day, Daniel is brought before Nebuchadnezzar. He tells the king about his dream of a giant statue made of different metals, head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of iron mixed with clay. A great stone, not cut by human hands, then smashes the statue and grows into a mountain that fills the whole earth. Daniel explains that the statue represents a succession of earthly kingdoms, starting with Nebuchadnezzar's own Babylonian empire, the head of gold. Each subsequent metal represents a kingdom that will follow, each one inferior to the last. But the stone represents God's kingdom, a kingdom that will crush all the others and last forever. Nebuchadnezzar is so blown away by Daniel's wisdom that he promotes him to a high position in his court. But Daniel's story isn't over. Years pass, Nebuchadnezzar is gone, and a new king, Darius, is on the throne of the Medo-Persian Empire. Darius recognizes Daniel's exceptional qualities and plans to set him over the entire kingdom. This makes the other officials incredibly jealous. They can't find any fault in Daniel's work, so they decide to use his faith against him. They trick King Darius into signing an unbreakable decree for the next 30 days. Anyone who prays to any god or man other than the king will be thrown into a den of lions. What does Daniel do? He goes home, opens his windows toward Jerusalem as he always has, and prays to God 3 times a day, just like before. He doesn't hide, he doesn't compromise. He knows the consequence, but his devotion to God is unwavering. His enemies, of course, are watching. They catch him in the act and report him to the king. King Darius is heartbroken. He genuinely likes Daniel and realizes he's been trapped. He spends the whole day trying to find a loophole, but his own law binds him. As evening falls, Daniel is thrown into the lion's den. The king's last words to him are a hopeful plea. May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you. The den is sealed with a stone. The king spends a sleepless night, fasting and worrying. At the first light of dawn, he rushes to the den and calls out, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from the lions and from the darkness?" A voice answers, "It's Daniel. O king, live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight." The king is overjoyed. Daniel is brought out, completely unharmed. The story ends with King Darius issuing a new decree, this time honoring the God of Daniel. The God who delivers and rescues. Daniel's story is a powerful reminder that faith isn't just for the good times. It's for the lion's dens, the fiery furnaces, and the moments when we have to choose between what's easy and what's right. His courage wasn't his own. It came from a deep, unwavering trust in a God who is bigger than any empire or any king. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.